What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 88 of my Total Warhammer 3 Ikit Claw Immortal Empires campaign. I almost said modded, but I caught myself at that time. Though, to be fair, this one is modded. It does have a couple of mods activated, so I guess there's no wrong way to say it. Anyway, as we saw last time, Queehead Taker faced off against Imric, and though the duel did favor Imric, the battle most certainly did not, as Queek destroyed his army and the accompanying army as well. Actually, that army had a quest, but there's no new quest, so I guess we're good. In addition to that, Throt the Unclean sallied out of Karakadrin and destroyed an army belonging to the Bone Rattlers, and it was one of these armies, one of the self-sufficient endgame scenario armies that we were able to destroy, so every single one of those down is very much a boon to our faction, as obviously the enemy can't actually rebuild those. They still have 1, 2, 3 here, and is this one of them? It is not, so I see 3 here and another one here. But that's a lot more manageable numbers, especially if they get into it with Karakadrin. Now, we did make some money last episode, so I guess we can do a little bit more building and stuff. Ooh, we probably want to move the heroes in case they, what they do actually costs money. The game is still being really stingy with the warp fuel, though. It's just so difficult to get warp fuel. Man, the entire last couple of episodes, we got all these massive battles and still no warp fuel. I do feel like the difficulty of the battle should increase the likelihood of warp fuel, or maybe every time you kill a mage or something, you should get warp fuel just to increase the ability to do so, because mages are likely to be using warpstone or carrying artifacts that have some. Just a thought. But anyway, let's see about moving around our heroes. I feel like we haven't done this in a while. Warp Attack, you're good where you are because you're going to join one of these armies. Bok the Harmless, you are exhausted, so you just have to stay where you are as well. Assassin, you are not exhausted. You can find somebody to assassinate if, in fact, you can find somebody to assassinate. I guess you can move out here to try to annoy some of these guys. Corpable, you are the one that's going to join Throt's army, but you can do so together with Compule here at the same time, so we'll wait on you. And I'll probably give them both items between the episodes at some point, just so as not to deliberate here. Next up, Ratmech, you are going to go to Hrothgar Spire and steal tech from it. Yes, Hrothgar Spire is the way to go. You're not going to expand under Empire here. We'll expand shortly in Lothern instead. Alrighty, nice job. And next up, anybody else still need to move hero-wise? Merchra, Labrats, yada yada. Typhus Rat the Warpsmith. Who are you? You are a Perceptive Plague Priest. I cannot for the life of me remember what I was doing with you. You're a very low level as well, because Plague Priests are supposed to be a much higher level. Oh, were you supposed to join Cyprus's army, perhaps? Maybe. You weren't supposed to join Metables. At least I don't think so. I do like the Perceptive. You could also, I guess, be one that could join Throt's army, but honestly, I feel like the Packmasters belong there much more, and the Eshin Sorcerer is fine, because he's in stock, and he can use Armor of Darkness. Yeah, alright, you, I guess, are going to join this army. Then we could get you guys at a much higher level. At least Cyprus can still move. I'm just out of curiosity, if we take a look at heroes... yeah, we could get them at level 7, so maybe if we get another one with the same trait, we'll do that. Alrighty, next up, I guess, let's do the buildings, such buildings that remain, and then we'll probably attack Drycha with Metable here. Let's see what we're looking at here. And looks like no heroes left. Alrighty, well, buildings, if there are any of those left. You know what, maybe we attack Drycha first, because that'll increase our money, and oh! We actually got a warp fuel. Wait, was the warp fuel from moving our hero into the army, or was it from stealing tech? Yeah, moving heroes into armies definitely does seem to give us warp fuel. At least, well, it's another one. Of course, when I talk about never getting warp fuel, but, well, at least we got some. Alrighty, well then I guess we attack Drycha. The question is, will we get an ambush going? And do we want Cyprus to follow, or do we want Cyprus to instead perhaps take Griffin Wood and start working on these territories? Because Mandible should probably be fine by himself right now. I don't think anybody can reach him either. What do we have in this army, incidentally? It's not all that strong. Well, the Malevolent Dryads could be an issue for some of these troops. I am reasonably confident that Medibel should be able to do this just fine. Would we still be able to reach Griffinwood? Maybe? I doubt it, though. You know what, let's just have Medibel do it. We are going to give him points, however, so let's apply those. He does not have stand or die, so that's an easy pick. And then the Assassin, who hits so hard, 102, and that's before the buffs he gets. You are going for Precise, because you need to go more weapon strength. Then Eshin Sorcerer. What do we have in mana, by the way? Still only 52. We really need more mana on these guys. I don't particularly like Warp Stars. It's rare for it to be useful. Brittlebone, certainly useful, but I'm not sure it would be useful for us right now. I'm inclined to just go for Scouting again. Alrighty, and that looks like that's it. Drycha. You are currently fighting nothing but our enemies, and that's great, but alas, you have to go. We can't be letting you run around in the back of our territory. The only issue might be she might move away to here if this ambush fails. Guess we're about to find out. Alright, call your allies to help. Good. And will we get the ambush? Nope, looks like we won't, and she's gonna move around, and she's gonna go far, but is it far enough? It is not far enough, just barely. Close, though. And very close. Attack. Alrighty, and this time we did, indeed, get the ambush. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. We also have a decent amount of uses of Menace below here. I should probably get a couple of different items for you as well, but for now, let's get a battle going. Alrighty, here we go again. Now, we do have to be a little bit careful here for a number of reasons. One, obviously, this army is, well, it's not really meant for a straight-up fight, but on the other hand, we really don't want the enemy to escape, and they are drawing right to the escape location. Though if they did escape, they would be destroyed anyway. It's just that I kind of want the fight, as it's unlikely that we'll be seeing Drycha again, so we're gonna move in and take damage just because we have to in order to prevent the enemy from rushing off field. Obviously, as usual, we're gonna send Metastorm and Medibel together, and there are assassins, and they're going to try to work on Drycha herself. Otherwise, the Ixis Triad's decoy has been spawned and will be distracting the Malevolent Dryads, while the Veil of Shadows stops their the head of the column and such. That said, while this army may look weak, Drycha's armies are deceptive. They look weak, but are in fact quite powerful. So I can't be underestimating them. Anyway, we're gonna pop as much buffs as we can. And we're gonna head into Drycha and see if we can't bring her down. She doesn't have a crazy amount of HP, but she's also one of those characters that's deceptively strong. Alrighty, and she is going to get help from Malevolent Dryads, and those Eagles will come down, as these are Great Hawks, aren't they? Yeah. Close enough. The Great Hawks will come down to help. We did try to snipe them with our Jezzails, but it didn't quite work out fast enough. Let's see, unfortunately, Drycha's been doing a pretty good job at hurting our assassins, and she's basically unharmed, despite the Weeping Blade and the rival Hide Talisman debuffing her. Looks like there's just too many enemy units in this blob here, and they're preventing us from attacking. Oh well, we're gonna have to join our blobs as well into the fight, and we are going to push the Eshin Triads and the Death Runners and whatever else we have forward into the melee. This will mean we will be taking a lot more casualties. But once again, we gotta prevent the enemy from going into the escape zone. Just for fun purposes, I really think that they need to adjust the way that the ambushes work. If it's an ambush that will destroy the army, this shouldn't exist, as in, the enemy can't actually escape an ambush. It makes no sense for it to try to do this. It's very odd. Especially, and March Stance, it shouldn't be available at all. Because in March Stance, they are also going to get destroyed. I think it's just a little bit of an oversight there, especially with the AI behavior not changing. I think it would be just easier to remove the possibility of escape rather than bother with the changing AI behavior. Anyway, the Veil of Shadows comes down and we continue fighting the enemy. The bounce power is about 70% in our favor, but there's still a lot of Malevolent Dryads to work through. Drycha's been hurt a little bit by Medibel hitting her, but really not as much as we'd like. Drycha pretty scary. And there we go, an Awakening of the Wood coming down probably from Drycha herself into the pile of units here, and that probably does decent damage. In fact, just out of curiosity, Drycha's at 4.7k. Nothing crazy, but good enough. An Arrow of Kurnos also flying overhead from the Waystalker here. Alright, and the enemy's still holding, though we have summoned a few rats in the middle of the enemy formation, and our Eshin Triads and Death Runners are working together to attack the Dryads from every side. Our Jezzails have also been sniping the enemy bears, and are now going to switch to sniping Drycha instead. It looks like the regular, old-fashioned knifey assassins aren't going to work out, so we're going to use the snipers to take her out instead, and every single volley takes a pretty big chunk of HP. Though granted, I'm sure that it hurts our own units as well, and just like that, Drycha will drop. Probably should have done that from the start, but I really wanted our assassins to actually, do their job rather than letting the Jezzails show the superiority of snipers. Anyway, it looks like with that, the entire enemy army shatters, and the battle will be ours. They refused to fight as soon as Drycha fell. Man. That was a lot closer than I would have liked it to be, and a close victory, but yeah, we really had to fight on the enemy's terms or else they would have escaped. Otherwise, we would have done that completely differently and then backed off and, well, done the usual thing that we do with this army, and divide and conquer and hit from range and all that. Nonetheless, we did win, and I don't believe we lost any units, even if we did take some damage, and we should recover just fine, on top of the fact that there are no enemies nearby to take advantage of our momentarily weakened army either. Ooh, alrighty, that turned out to be a lot more dangerous. Gotta remember that this army doesn't like straight-up fair fights. I mean, no Skaven like straight-up fair fights, except possibly Queek, but these guys are pretty darn strong. I definitely have to be careful. Granted, we could have just sniped them from a distance and watched them walk off the map, but I really didn't want to do that, which is why we tried to charge. I'm also very impressed with how hard Drycha was to take down, with both assassins, with both of their insane buffs when they popped that Skaven brew, and the debuffs on her. She just really didn't care. And I love Drycha, so I'm happy that she gave us a run for our money. Now, I guess we're gonna want to heal up this time around. The army will be destroyed, and we'll get the defeat trait. Let's see, immune to Athalor and attrition doesn't really matter. The defeat trait is actually pretty trash, but what can you do? Fortunately, we can heal to full here, and I guess we will leave Mordheim to grab Griffin Wood for ourselves. I don't think we can grab Essen because that'll just get attacked by Vlad immediately, so Griffin Wood. Not that it's super necessary to have Griffin Wood, mind you, I just think that it could provide some uses. Mostly, I think the fact that it can produce food. Now, we're almost maxed out on food, but, let's just call it as a tier 1. There you go. And it'll slowly grow anyway. We will build a growth structure, but we will immediately head to exploitative planning to increase the food generation, and we're not going to bother collecting income here as it's just too little to be worth our time. Alrighty, now, is there any more armies that need to move around this turn? Or are we finally done this turn? Man, turns take so long with the endgame scenario, and it makes sense that they do, but damn, still. Alrighty, looks like that's good. Let's just do whatever buildings we have remaining, and I know this is like the third time we're checking buildings, but we left a few unbuilt because of their expense. You were one of them, Carricknorn, or at least your walls were. Western Jungles, yeah, oh right, Deadhead Monoliths we have to ignore because it's probably going to get taken over. Arguelon. We can upgrade the Waterfall Palace to tier 4. It's a little bit on the expensive side, and you know what, at the same time, we could upgrade all of these guys at the same time in 3 turns. Is there any real purpose to waiting, though? Probably not. Oh, you're an exploitative planning. Yes, there is actually something of a purpose of waiting. Wait until they're all ready, and then rather than doing them one by one, do them all at the same time, and then switch back at the same time. Yeah, fine. We'll wait on Waterfall Palace, then we'll save the money. Now, do we want, or can we get any decent chieftains here? We have a weapon master, but honestly, the fact that these guys are so fragile, it makes me think that we probably want one that has a defensive capability. Warpstone Hoarder, not so useful to you. You know, Perceptive isn't bad, though. I just feel like Garth could use something that could assassinate single entities or dual enemy lords and heroes, which might mean a chieftain or 2. You know, let's get Ixstone of Mordheim. Let's hope he doesn't get immediately assassinated. And we will get you training and immediately into elusive. You're not on your Bonebreaker, though, so you're not quite fragile yet. It's certainly making me think that maybe we want to keep more chieftains off the Bonebreakers. I'm not sure the extra speed and splash damage is worth just how fragile they become, but I will consider it / think about it. Anyway, let's skip the rest of this. You're not moved. I think we've done that. Outpost upgrade available. Probably not one that matters. Yeah, it's just the ogres. Outpost available straight up with the Ecstatic Legions. Still meh. And that's it. Alrighty. Finally, we can end the turn. Now, where could we get attacked right now? I think there's only one place. And that one place is here. And Grimgor is likely to move to World's Edge Archway. We might even intercept him, but either way, this looks like it'll be a fun fight. Let's make sure that we apply your points, though, if we're gonna do so. You're missing stand or die. Now, you have Warp Smart currently, which is most of this stuff, isn't it? Getter-wise does nothing for this army, and you have 2 clan rats, or 3 clan rats, but that similarly doesn't do anything for you. I guess we could move through some of this stuff. Scorch is now quite useful once again, so yeah, let's go Scorch. A couple points in there, which will give us evasion, and I guess either magical reserves or earthing. Yeah, we'll probably be overcasting at least some stuff here. Or we could ignore the rest of them. Now, you know what, let's get earthing. Maybe towards Arcane Conduit, but I think Quartermaster is still the way to go right now. Oh, wait, there was also, before I forget, there's also Power Overload. Is that better than Earthing for us currently? It might be, depending on the type of battle that this is likely to be. Nonetheless, I think we're gonna go for Earthing. We probably won't have enough mana to cast everything at the same time anyway. Alright, that's good. Let's stay in ambush, let's end the turn, and let's see who attacks us. Cold is moving around in the background. I don't know why the camera decided to jump to him. The camera really often does this weird thing where the first move is shown to you even though it's not your faction. Sometimes it's an ally faction, sometimes it's an enemy faction. I see no rhyme or reason to it. Grimgor is actually not going to move forward, either that or he actually jumped over us and we didn't intercept him. We'll see in a second. I'm actually very curious to see where he went. I don't see his portrait. Did he just run away? Grimgor, you little coward. Where did you go? Okay. Military alliance with Kolek, no dice. At least no dice for now. Grimgor. Why? Why do you do this to me? I just wanted to fight you, man. Alright, down to 79 factions. Still quite a few left, though, but we gotta remember that we suddenly activated the endgame scenario when we weren't really expecting it. Accept refugees of Clan Not, sure. And what do we have here? Mutant 2, Chromatic Armor. Oh wow, we got copy the symbols again. Plus 35. You know what? I'm not actually sure that this stacks. Huh. I do wonder, though, what if it does? It would be pretty great if it does, but this chromatic armor thing, glittering scales is always worth using. On the other hand, the loyalty thing is kind of an issue. So you know what, I want to see if copy the symbols will stack, because we already have one that's plus 50%. If it not only stacks but lowers it to 35, I'd be very disappointed. Let's find out. Copy the symbols. And, oh, these are different ones. So we have a plus 50 and a plus 35 now. Well, isn't that just lovely? Rite of Awakening performed Telakwa Ambush World Morphific Confederation with Grimgor's Ardboys. Oh, wow. I was not expecting that. Grimgor got confederated. Grimgor would rather, well, he'd probably run away, but I sincerely doubt Skarsnik would manage this. Sincerely doubt. Leonis got besieged, but that's fine. Surrender imminent irrelevant because this guy here is dead, and that's why we kept Garth outside the settlement. Auto-resolve. And there we go. So fall the... Oh, wow, 11 food for that. So fall the Broken Axe. Surrender no longer imminent. Some settlements received plague. Schwarzhofen besieged. Oh. You're going to siege Ikit Claw. Surely you jest with this. This is what you're going... Okay, we're gonna fight this. I actually think that they'll run away, but we're about to find out. Charge lock loyalty low. Trudge Craventail up and running. Alright, ooh, 3 loyalty. Oh no, we need to get him to a fight. But fights are far. Alright, and it looks like we'll have to get him to Beckhofen. Hopefully before somebody else takes it. Trenches ready, upkeep reduction lovely. Undercity established in Fort Oberstyre. Some settlement received plague, another confederation, okay, this is gonna be... Yeah, this is one of the reasons I don't like the mod. I wish that you could, maybe there is a way that you only do that for the player, not for the AI. And that would be preferable in my opinion. Anyway, charge lock, head down here to Beckhofen if you can. Hopefully before our quote-unquote allies do. Ogres are still running it, and look at this. The AI just absolutely refuses to take easily capturable locations that belong to the ogres. It's been absolute ages as well. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 places. We could blow them all up and capture them for ourselves with warp bombs. But still, it is annoying that the AI doesn't want to go for them. What else did we want to perhaps see before we attack here? Ooh, I want to check technology. So we are currently at 483. We got lots of 1-point upgrades here. 1-point upgrades are great, because they can't be reduced further. Hammer success chance 2, eh? Well, let's start with virulent plans. I'm not actually sure that the... Is virulent plans ever not one? Like, if we go here, record effective recipes... No, wait. Is there another one of these? Ah, yes, suppressive plans, just out of curiosity. 16, 17. Okay, so these are... These might always be 1 turn. I was tempted to go know your place for loyalty for new recruits, but... Right now, maybe not. No, I think we still want to get virulent plans to get distilled poisons. And just so that we can go to record effective recipes and then on towards plan within plans. And then ultimate experiments. Which we could reach in... Wait, why can't we... Is there something else needed for plans within plans? No, why can't we click this? Okay, well whatever. Let's go to record effective recipes and at least we'll be most of the way there. Spread Rotten Decay is kind of useless. Hero action cost, hero recruit cost, meh. This is all garbage. We'll probably ignore this completely. We'll probably go eyes everywhere at some point, and same with know your place. But the good stuff is here, and ensure absolute loyalty, which we do have to have record effective recipes anyway, which means going through this useless tree, and just to go for the control bonus, storm vermin bonuses, and the good stuff here. Diplomatic relations with all factions as well. But yeah, anyway, keep researching, rather. Alright, Ikit. I believe while you do have some points that are applicable here... Oh, actually, Scorch. I was thinking that everything would be pretty much maxed out. Anyway, I guess you can go boost income. And then you... Scorch, and you can boost income as well. Alright. Oh, lovely. Ikit himself is holding on to his last point because I'm still not 100% sure what to get with it. And there's definitely several choices, but we can keep holding on to it. Maybe until the end of the campaign, or I'll just get Death Frenzy, but we'll see. Anyway, it's not like we need it. You are going to attack Dalid Grundadrak here, and you are not going to get an ambush. Good. We didn't want an ambush. We don't really need the settlement garrison reinforcements, but let's destroy these miners. This is gonna be hilarious. Alrighty. Here we go. I have no concept of what the AI thinks it's going to achieve here. All these miners are just being fed into the slaughter here, and they are going to start getting slaughtered by our piles of Jezzails. Granted, this almost feels like a waste of Jezzail ammo to be used on miners. We would never bother with this sort of thing normally and allow the warp fire throwers to kill them in like a single volley, but we're not going to be moving forward right now. We might as well do a little sniping anyway. I do have to wonder, okay, there's a Scorch coming in from Ikit, and Ikit's going to have some fun in this particular battle as well. Huh. Wait, did the Scorch keep going? What was that? Looked weird. You can't use it twice. Not important, I suppose. Everybody continue sniping, catapults, and warp lightnings continue firing, although it looks like that little copse of trees is in the way. And then Ikit and... well, I guess it's just Ikit for now, but the rest of them will be helping at some point, I'm sure. I'm gonna pop a brass orb right in the middle of this enemy blob here. Or not. Alright, I just played myself. The plan was to pop a brass orb, but I guess there wasn't enough units there, and I decided against it. That's fine, though. And Ikit's just running around, possibly expecting to cast, while the enemy just mills around here. I'm actually shocked that they're not attacking. There we go, now the brass orb finally comes down. We also no longer have the Skryre clanstone to debuff the enemy here. That's okay, though. It's not like we needed to keep ripping miners apart. And another Scorch coming in as well on top of the brass orb, in addition to the warp lightning. The catapults continue firing in the same location, and the snipers continue doing their work, though it almost feels like snipers' accuracy is too much for this, as they waste too many shots on individual units of miners. Oh, this is just horrifying, though. In the best way, though. Alright, keep firing. How's that balance of power looking? About 80% in our favor, though I want to point out this is only the first army of miners. There's still another full stack to go, and these guys are hardly dead. Our Jezzails are down to half their ammo, though I'm still expecting the enemy army at some point to move in towards the Rattling guns and the warp fire throwers. What I could have actually done was probably deploy the warp fire throwers forward and just had them move up the hill, burninating as they go. Unfortunately for the enemy, or for us, I don't know. I guess unfortunately for the enemy, we don't need to. And besides, if they come to us, they will still get burninated. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really change anything, other than the potential increase in unit number when the second army arrives. Ikit's just watching the show here. He's at 42 kills and 11k damage. And let's see, the Jezzails, just out of curiosity, this one's at 131 and 12k, so Ikit's keeping on par with both his own Warp Lightning hits from his Doom Wheel as well as his spell work. In fact, speaking of the spell work, he is going to move out now and go towards the second arriving army just to hit them with some more spells. It looks like this army still refuses to move towards us. Come on now. I'm just curious how long they'd be willing to do this for. Usually an AI likes to move forward with piles of miners, or, well, with units in general, when the reinforcements arrive, but it doesn't look like it wants to do it right now. Not to worry, though, Ikit still has work to do. Maybe this will annoy the rest of the armies eventually. Here come the piles of miners, so we're going to pop that brass orb yet again, together with... oh wait, was there a Skryre clanstone? No, that was the Flensing Ruin that is popped, and not so much for the damage, it's not going to do anything crazy to the enemy, but rather for the armor reduction. We're going to hit the enemy with spells, and miners, despite being weak, are fairly armor heavy. They are a dwarven unit after all. And we're going to reduce that and hit them with as many spells as we possibly can. So Flensing Ruin, Scorch, Brass Orb, and Warp Lightning all at once. And we'll see what Ikit's damage is going to be like after all this is done. There we go. Could even use a few more spells in there. That's still a massive pile of units, so we're going to pop a Crack Skull into that, which I'm not a big fan of, and I rarely use, but this is a big blob of enemies, so why not? Alrighty, now... The spell is nearly over, and it looks like Ikit has done some damage, and in fact, by the looks of it, enough damage that the rest of the enemy army will start moving towards us. Finally. You did it, Ikit. You finally did it. He also did, let's see, I'd say 5 units very heavily damaged here. What's the HP damage on him now? He's got 221 kills and up to 47.5k damage. Very nice. Looks like the enemy miners have also moved finally close enough for our mortars, our avalanche mortars, to fire. The enemy lord is also getting focused down by the Jezzails. Their ammo dwindles, but they should have just enough to snipe the enemy lord before he can do anything. And I'm sure he'll go down in a second. There we go. The anvil goes down. Our rattling guns are also going to get a little bit of playtime as well. Finally able to fire. And I don't imagine our Jezzails will be firing for much longer. Not to worry, though. And the warp fire throwers will fire as well. And this is what I was planning to move up into the hill, because a single volley and that unit of miners is destroyed. Though I'm still not sure warp fire throwers it's called a volley, but I suppose it doesn't really matter all that much. As long as Dowie are dead, we're happy. Or dwarf things, I should say. Beard things? Alrighty, and let's see, this first army is pretty much done for already. It can move no further, and the warp fire throwers, yeah, there's no way that a pile of miners is going to get to through the rattling guns or the warp fire throwers. There is another little unit of miners fighting here, but we're going to drop a warp lightning down on it from Ikit. And you know what? The little tiny remnants of the garrison are actually helping us out somewhat as well. Anyway, all those units are pretty much dead. Once again, I still do feel like you should be able to turn friendly fire on so that our warp fire throwers can burninate regardless of the presence of these little units. And it looks like these guys are at least doing the right thing. Good job. Well done. And that, I believe, is the end of Army 1. Army 2 is still approaching, however, so we're going to speed it up and let it do so. Oh, look, there's another unit of miners. Let's watch it get mowed down by rattling guns. I thought it had routed, but apparently not. Oh, look at that. They're getting a little bit close to the warp fire throwers. I think I told these guys to actually directly attack it, but for whatever reason they decided to charge forward. And that's okay, though. It looks like the rattling guns will take care of it, but will also knock out one of the warp fire throwers. Ah, more damage than the enemy has done already. Come on now, rattling guns. Alrighty, well, the second army approaches. Ikit's going to ride around and do additional damage with his spells, up to 63k damage now. And he did just pop another Scorch. Let's speed it up a little bit as the enemy moves in, and there we go. The catapults are going to start firing. Oh, looks like a few more Jezzail shots left, though. Units are now running out of ammunition. Line 2, here we go. Let's see how close you can get before you start melting away. Actually, out of curiosity, how have our artillery fared? In fact, the artillery are basically out of ammunition as well. At 11k damage, we got 8.2k damage. Yeah, but it's the zaps. They're probably not going to do a crazy amount anyway. And the avalanche mortars, not a lot of damage, though that is, by the looks of it, very much about to change, as the second line has not been nearly as devastated by long-range hits, and thus are more blobbed up than the first one was. Which means a target-rich environment for the avalanche mortars, but not for very long at all, as the second line decides that, yeah, this is completely futile. Even with the Jezzails and the artillery out of ammunition, there's just nothing they can do. There we go, and avalanche mortars just ripped 4 units apart for a few more seconds. A decisive victory for us. The second army didn't have to be destroyed because it was in march stance, and the first army was largely melted away, so I think that worked out pretty well. Oh, AI. Alrighty, there we go. I'm not entirely sure what the plan was, but props to the AI for trying, I suppose. Got a tiny bit of damage on one of our units of warp fire throwers, I think due to friendly fire, but otherwise no damage taken. We're gonna heal that up to make sure that it gets completely full HP, and both armies will be destroyed. Yeah, something of a silly battle, and hey, we got more warp fuel, lovely, and on top of that, since they attacked us, Ikit is actually able to move. He can head out to Oakenhammer, should he desire to do so, or to Castle Drakenhof, to occupy it. Wait, how many territories do these guys even have? 1, 2... and then 3 at Grand Peak. But Ungrim himself is under siege, though. There is an unfortunate aspect of this, and it's that his defeat trait is very nice. It would have been nice to get it on Ikit, but I'm not sure he can survive, even with a full garrison against 3 or 4 of these stacks. Although I suppose we'll see. Unfortunately, we'll have to see next time, as once more we're out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here. Next time, Ikit advances, and well, I guess since this is a new turn, pretty much everybody advances, so we can enjoy a few fights. Maybe we can get some nice battles with Bok the Lethal if he can find something out here. And Queek has a lot of work to do where he is, and ooh, these armies are finally ready. So 3 Abominations will be swapped out. Well, I guess these guys are all going to swap out, and we're going to get Tretch Craventail on the field as well, who's probably going to replace Mutant number 2. Who isn't necessary because he is a... well, A is he's a clone, but also he's only level 6, so you're gonna get replaced by Tretch Craventail, who is now on the field. Where are you, Tretchy? Alright there, Grand Chieftain. Melee attack plus 13 after retreating when attacked, melee attack plus 13 during ambushes, and devastating flanker. And there we go. And there we go. Now, his buffs are ambush, vanished as clan rats, and storm vermin buff. Stay here, I'll get help is a ability for himself. Charge bonus for storm vermin via Tretch's Raiders. And that's about it. No actual direct buff to Storm Vermin, unfortunately, but he does like his Storm Vermin. He is supposed to be a Storm Vermin Lord, so we'll probably have him use some of these, but we'll see how many once I figure out what we want to do with his army. Anyway, calling it here, more battles to come, more rats to come, so don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.